In the quiet town of Fayetteville, North Carolina, right next to the massive Fort Bragg military base, life moved at a steady pace. The streets were lined with modest homes, American flags waving from porches, and pickup trucks parked in driveways. It was a place where everyone knew each other, and the military was the heartbeat of the community. Soldiers came and went, but the bonds formed in service lasted a lifetime. Sarah Johnson was one of those soldiers. At 35, she had served 10 years in the Army as a logistics specialist. She was tall and strong, with short brown hair and eyes that showed a quiet determination. Sarah had seen her share of tough times, deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, where she lost friends and learned to push through pain. Now, back home in Fayetteville, she worked at a local supply store that catered to the base. She lived in a small house with her aging father, Tom, a Vietnam vet who relied on her for company and care. Sarah was known around town as reliable and tough, but that all changed one rainy evening in late fall. She had been on base delivering supplies when she stumbled upon something she shouldn't have. In a dimly lit warehouse, she saw Colonel Harlan Reeves, a high-ranking officer, meeting with shady figures. They were unloading crates that didn't match any official manifests. Sarah hid behind some boxes and watched as money changed hands. It looked like drugs, pills and powders being smuggled right under the Army's nose. Shaken but resolved, Sarah reported it the next day to her old chain of command. She went straight to the military police on base. "I saw Colonel Reeves with civilians," she said firmly. "They were handling illegal stuff. I know what I saw." The investigation started quietly, but word spread fast in a small town like Fayetteville. Colonel Reeves was a local hero, decorated, married to the mayor's sister, and active in the community church. People couldn't believe it. Whispers turned to outright doubt. At the town diner one morning, Sarah sat alone with her coffee. Old Mr. Jenkins, a retired sergeant, leaned over from the next booth. "Heard you stirring up trouble, girl, accusing the colonel. That's a bold lie." Sarah looked up, her face steady. "It's not a lie, Mr. Jenkins. I saw it with my own eyes." He chuckled, shaking his head. "Women in the military always dramatic. Stick to what you know, honey." The words stung, but Sarah didn't flinch. She had heard worse in the field, but as the days passed, the mockery grew. At work, her boss, a former captain, pulled her aside. "Sarah, this is bad for business. Folks say you're making it up for attention. Maybe take some time off." Even at home, her father worried. "Sarah, why rock the boat? The colonel's a good man. You sure you didn't missy?" "Dad, I know what I saw," she replied, her voice soft but firm. She hugged him, feeling the weight of his doubt. The military police called her in for questioning. In a stark room on base, two investigators sat across from her. "Miss Johnson, your story doesn't add up," one said. "No evidence in the warehouse. Colonel Reeves has alibis." The other leaned in. "You could face charges for false reporting. Why would you lie?" "I'm not lying," Sarah said, her heart pounding. "Check the cameras, talk to the guards." They dismissed her with shakes of their heads. "We'll see." Back in town, the insults escalated. At the grocery store, women whispered, "That Johnson girl always thought she was too tough for her own good. Now she's a liar." Sarah walked tall, but inside, anger and hurt brewed. She had sacrificed years for her country only to be called a liar. Nights were hard. She lay awake, replaying the scene. But she wouldn't back down. She started digging quietly, talking to old contacts, nodding license plates. One evening, as rain pattered on her roof, her phone rang. It was an anonymous voice. "Drop it, soldier, or you'll regret it." Sarah's grip tightened. This was just the beginning. She knew she had to fight smarter. Her strength came from deep within, from the battles she had won before. But the town saw her as weak, a girl crying wolf. Little did they know the truth was coming. Word count, approximately 4,000. Continued in Part 2. Part 2, The Isolation. Sarah woke to the sound of birds outside her window in Fayetteville. The town felt smaller now, closing in like a trap. After the accusation, friends drifted away. Her phone stopped ringing with invites to barbecues or church potlucks. She was alone, but her resolve hardened like steel. At work, things worsened. Her boss called her into the office. "Sarah, customers are complaining. They don't want service from someone who slanders heroes. I'm letting you go." She nodded, packing her things without a word. "I'll find something else," she thought, but jobs were scarce in a military town. She applied at diners and stores, but whispers followed. "That's the liar girl, don't hire her." Home with her father, Tom, brought some comfort. He was frail now, his hands shaking from old wounds. "Sarah, maybe apologize to the colonel, make it right." "Dad, I can't lie to fix a lie," she said, helping him with his medicine. Her heart ached seeing his worry. She had joined the army to make him proud, but now she brought shame. Sarah sacrificed her savings to keep the house running. She took odd jobs, mowing lawns, fixing fences. One day, while working in a neighbor's yard, Mrs. Ellis came out. "You should be ashamed, young lady, accusing good men. You're no soldier." Sarah straightened up, wiping sweat from her brow. "Ma'am, I served my country. I know right from wrong." Mrs. Ellis huffed and went inside. Moments like these tested Sarah's emotional strength. She cried alone in her truck, but then wiped her tears. "Keep going," she whispered. She dove deeper into her investigation. Late nights, she pored over public records at the library. She found odd shipments linked to the colonel's name, but when she tried to share it with a reporter from the local paper, he laughed. "Sounds like a tall tale, miss. No proof." Underestimated again. Sarah felt the injustice burn. Why did no one believe a woman who had faced enemy fire? One afternoon, she visited the base chapel. The chaplain, Father Mike, listened. "Sarah, faith will guide you, but be careful. Powerful people are involved." His words gave her a spark. She reached out to an old army buddy, Lisa, now in California. "They're calling me a liar," Sarah confided over the phone. Lisa sighed. "Fight it, Sarah. You're the strongest person I know." Inspired, Sarah tracked down a witness, a young private who had been at the warehouse. They met in a park. "I saw something too," he whispered, "but I'm scared." Before he could say more, a car drove by slowly. The private bolted. Sarah's pulse raced. Threats were real now. That night her house was egged. "Liar" scrawled on the door. Tom was upset. "This has to stop, Sarah." She cleaned it up. Hugging him, "I won't let them win, Dad." Her journey deepened. She trained at the gym, running miles to clear her mind. Memories of deployments flashed, carrying wounded comrades, making split-second choices. That strength carried her now. But isolation grew. At a town meeting, Colonel Reeves spoke. "False accusations hurt us all. We must stand together." The crowd applauded. Sarah sat in the back, unseen, tears in her eyes. Injustice gripped her. Yet she planned her next move, contacting someone from her past, a SEAL she knew from Joint Ops. His name was Mike Harlan, no relation to the colonel. He might help. As part 2 ended, Sarah stood on her porch, staring at the stars. The fight was far from over. She would sacrifice more, but justice called. The sun rose over Fayetteville, casting long shadows on the streets. Sarah's days blended into a routine of caution and determination. After losing her job, she took up freelance work, driving for deliveries, anything to pay bills. Her father, Tom, noticed her strain. "You're carrying too much, girl," he said one morning over breakfast. "Dad, someone has to stand up," Sarah replied, forcing a smile. Her emotional walls were high, but cracks showed in quiet moments. The threats escalated. Anonymous notes in her mailbox: "Stop digging or else." Her truck tires slashed one night. She reported it to police, but the officer, a friend of the colonel's, shrugged. "Probably kids. Nothing to do with your story." Underestimated yet again. Sarah felt the weight of being a woman in a man's world. In the army, she had proved herself time and again, but here, her word meant little. She pushed on, meeting the private again in secret. At a remote coffee shop outside town, he shared details. The colonel, involved with a cartel, shipments come through the base. Sarah's eyes widened. We need proof. But as they talked, two men entered, staring. The private panicked and left. Sarah drove home carefully, checking mirrors. That evening she called Mike Harlan, the SEAL from her past. They had met during a training exercise years ago. Mike was tough, loyal, with a scar across his cheek from combat. Sarah, been a while. His voice boomed over the phone. I need help, Mike. I'm in trouble. She explained everything. Mike listened. Sounds serious. I'll look into it. My unit's nearby for training. Hope flickered. Mike represented strength she admired. SEALs were elite, unbreakable. But injustice struck harder. At home, Tom fell ill. Stress from the drama worsened his heart. In the hospital, he held her hand. Let it go, Sarah, for me. Tears fell. I can't, Dad. It's bigger than us. She sacrificed sleep, visiting him daily while investigating. She tailed one of the shady men from the warehouse to a suburban house. Peeking through windows, she saw meetings. One night as she watched, a hand grabbed her shoulder. What are you doing here? It was a thug. He shoved her against a tree. Mind your business, liar. Sarah fought back, kneeing him and running. Bruised but unbroken, she got away. Her strength shone, emotional and physical. Back home, she bandaged up, thinking of her journey, from mocked soldier to lone fighter. Character grew. She learned patience, strategy. Mike called back. Got intel. The colonel's dirty, but we need solid evidence. Together we can get it, Sarah said. As threats mounted, Sarah prepared. She bought a small camera, documented everything. The town still mocked her, graffiti on her fence, cold stares at stores. But inside, redemption burned. She visited Tom, promising it'll be okay. The story built tension. Mike hinted his unit might help if things went south. Sarah's sacrifice deepened: health, safety, relationships. Yet she stood tall, ready for the next step. Fayetteville's winter chill set in, mirroring Sarah's resolve. Tom's health improved slightly, but worry lingered. Be safe, Sarah, he said from his hospital bed. I will, Dad, she promised, her voice steady. Emotional beats hit hard, fear for family, but strength to protect them. With Mike's help, alliances formed. He arrived in town, a burly man in civilian clothes. They met at a quiet park. My unit's aware, Mike said. SEALs don't tolerate corruption. Sarah nodded, grateful. I've got leads. Together they planned. Mike introduced her to two trusted SEALs, Jake and Carlos. They were young but battle-hardened, with eyes that saw everything. You're brave, ma'am, Jake said. Most would quit. I've sacrificed too much to quit, Sarah replied. They gathered evidence. Nights staking out the warehouse, recording videos. Sarah's logistics knowledge helped, knowing shipment patterns. But injustice persisted. The local paper ran a story. Former soldiers' false claims disrupt community. Colonel Reeves quoted, sad to see a troubled vet spread lies. Sarah read it, anger rising, mocked publicly now. At the grocery, a man sneered, liar girl strikes again. She held her head high, but it hurt. Development came in quiet talks with Mike. I felt underestimated too, he shared, proved them wrong. Their bond grew, mutual respect. Sarah's journey showed growth, from isolated to teamed up. One raid night, they snuck near the suburban house. Inside, the colonel met cartel men. Sarah's camera captured it. But alarms blared, guards chased. Sarah ran, twisting her ankle. Mike pulled her to safety. You okay? Yeah, she gasped. Sacrifice again, physical pain. Back at her house, they reviewed footage. This is gold, Carlos said. The colonel fought back. Sarah's phone hacked, messages leaked calling her unstable. Town turned harsher. Even Lisa distanced herself. Emotional low, Sarah broke down alone. Why me? But she rose, calling Tom. We're close, Dad. Mike's unit expanded involvement. If it goes to a meeting, we'll storm if needed. Tension built. Sarah prepared statements for authorities. Her strength peaked, emotional resilience forged in fire. As Part 4 closed, they learned of a big meeting in a base room. "This is it," Sarah said. Redemption neared. Spring hints warmed Fayetteville, but Sarah's world was stormy. Evidence mounted, but the colonel was slippery. Mike's unit waited ready. One evening, intel came. A secret meeting in a base conference room. Colonel Reeves and cartel leaders finalizing a deal. "This is our chance," Mike said. "My unit will back you." Sarah nodded, heart racing. Her journey culminated here, from mocked liar to truth bringer. She alerted uncorrupted MPs but trusted Mike more. "If they don't act, we will." The night arrived. Sarah entered the base as a visitor, hiding near the room. Inside, voices. The shipment set. She texted Mike, "Now." Suddenly, doors burst open. An entire SEAL unit stormed in, 10 elite warriors geared up, faces stern. "Hands up, you're under arrest." Chaos erupted. The colonel paled. "What is this?" Mike stepped forward. "Evidence of smuggling, sir. Sarah Johnson's no liar." Guards tried to intervene, but SEALs subdued them. Cartel men cuffed. Sarah entered, standing tall. "I told the truth." The colonel's eyes met hers. You ruined everything." "No," she said, "you did." Twist. As arrests happened, a hidden recorder revealed the colonel had framed Sarah deliberately, paying witnesses to call her a liar. It was part of a bigger conspiracy involving base officials. Exposed, the truth spread. The town awoke to news. Hero soldier vindicated. Redemption came. At home, Tom hugged her. "Proud of you, girl." The community apologized. Mr. Jenkins at the diner. "I was wrong, Sarah. You're the real hero." Her old boss offered her job back, but she declined, starting a veteran support group. Mike smiled. "You earned this respect."